Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. We are now in 2019. Oh my gosh, we made it another year. Can you believe that? And we are here at the PSI Meetup. Glad to have you here, of course. And we're going to go over a couple things real quick, just so you guys know what's going on. The biggest thing to start with is, I want to talk about the purpose initiative in the PSI Academy. Now, what we're doing here at PSI is PSI was never about just reading or just about, oh my gosh, it's so cool. Oh, come on. No, we were never about that. We were always about doing, getting things done. And it's one thing to study spiritual teaching, but it's another thing to actually apply it and to go out in the world and to use it in practicality in everyday life and everything that you do and so on and so forth. And this is what the core members have been doing. So I'm going to start by saying, congratulations, guys. You guys should give yourself a much needed pat on the back, not in an over glorification way, but it is good to acknowledge your progress because it gives you satisfaction points so that you can keep building higher. It's important to know how far you've come. And from what I've seen, people have done a fantastic job. The core members in particular have done a very fantastic job of growing, applying, etc., etc. So very, very, very nice. And 2018 was mainly the year that PSI kind of got to know what the hell PSI is about. And now that PSI understand what it's about, and when it's not, for that matter, because we did have to go through necessary experiences and mistakes and so on and so forth, including with some people. Now that we know what it's about, now we can move forward with absolute certainty, and now things can manifest a lot quicker. So we have a platform here. We have multiple people that contribute towards the platform. You have Severin, for example, that's creating all this stuff, that's inspiring other people. You have Pat as well, that's also creating. You have Robin, you have myself, you have Daniel that's writing. The more and more people contribute towards the platform, the more and more people have to take. So it's a give and take relationship, where give and take with inspiration and wisdom, which kind of leads into the first point. So this is to deal with the schedule changes in general. Now, we used to have the monthly meetup every Saturday, and we had a lot of meetups, a lot in frequency. And this was good for a specific amount of time for starting things up, getting to know each other, etc., and, getting participation going. And that's awesome. However, now that we have evolved to this point that we've evolved to, we're going to focus less on frequency and more on quality. So starting first is Humanity Matters. For season 3 of Humanity Matters, that's right, we're on season 3 for crying out loud. That's pretty cool. Season 3 of Humanity Matters, right? That one's going to start next week, and it's only going to go 2 times a month. So every 2 weeks, and then the first Sunday of every month will be this. Will be the PSI meetup in addition to the locker room talk. So everybody has a whole month ahead of time. If they have any concerns, they have any questions, they have anything that they want to talk about improving, etc., you name it. This is the time to actually get it done. And you can present this ahead of time, and you'll have your own time to speak, get across the point that you need to get across. But it's very important that we work like this because we want to work in a manner that is balanced, so it gives enough space for each and every person to go out in the world and individually grow while also contributing towards the platform. PSI is much like creation itself, honestly. Like it really is the same principle. And I wanted it to be like that. I wanted this organization to be a creational organization. So just like our creation disperses the various spirit forms to go out and collect knowledge and information and power, and then it comes back and then it evolves the creation into bigger. You can think the same exact thing for PSI. We all go out into the world in our own different ways. Going out into the world can include going to your jobs, to your family, to your friends, whatever the heck it is. Or it can also include just being on the computer and just being on Discord. It's versatile for different people. So you have to be able to figure this out for yourself because it's different for each and every person. But the point is that everybody is contributing towards the platform, which is good, by building in their own right. So now that we got through the schedule changes and as to why. The other thing is that all shows and all meetings and stuff like that on Sundays for the monthly meetup will be overridden for this. Again, this is to reduce frequency and focus more on quality so that people don't get exhausted, don't hit burnout points, they have enough time so they can grow, etc., etc., etc. Now, I want to go over a discussion of the yearly overview, creation of the videos, the film, the music, the books, the etc. Look, I'm going to be honest, I never really anticipated PSI becoming this creative. This is truly impressive what you guys are doing out there, and gals. There's so much creativity here. Like, there's music, there's a film, there's meditation videos, there's podcast shows, there's inspirational stuff, there's books, there's games. Robin right now is working on virtual reality. There's so many things here, and the amount of creativity is just incredible. And people keep getting inspired, so keep this up. This only grows the more and more that we participate, and we have to be very aware of what we are doing. We have to be conscious about it. And frankly, we have to know what PSI is about, which kind of gets into my other topic, which is about the Titan program. Now, the Titan program is something that I recently created and I'm taking my time with. And the Titan program does deal with sections such as abilities and a submission of the PSI mission. But before we do get into the submission, let's clarify one thing about PSI right now. PSI is a creational-based organization. It's an organization about creation in the very literal sense of that. So people here come to get wisdom, get inspired, to bring wisdom, to bring creation, and to empower the platform and to grow it, because the world does need stuff like PSI. PSI must exist for the world to move forward. There ain't going to be no God that's going to come save us. There ain't going to be no aliens that's going to come save us either. This is literally what people have to do here on Earth to make Earth a better place. We are literally doing that. And the more and more we become certain, this is why it's important, go on the PSI Academy, check out some of the purposes, posts that people make. This is very important. I know that it might take longer for some people, that's fine, but think about it. You need to know what you are, who you are, and what you're about, because that only makes things stronger. And for the PSI Academy itself, we need certain people. If you're going to be teaching, if you're going to be instructing, if you're going to be, giving wisdom to people, then you need to know who you are and who you're not, for that matter. Very important. So getting back into the Titan program. The Titan program is basically based off of a calculation. As we all know, the Earth, mankind is like an infection here on Earth, and the Earth is striking back against mankind. So what has the Earth done? The Earth has released a fever to fight against this infection. That's why there can be such ridiculously genius and creative people here on Earth. It's logical why it can exist, because the masses is, well, they're sheep. People are not taught to have critical thinking. They're not taught to actually think in general, really, for that matter. So that's why you have these extreme spikes, these heroes that exist, these gods and goddesses out there, these pioneers, these engineers of the future, these architects of grand visions, and so on and so forth. And the Titan program, I want to be very clear about this. The Titan program is a very strict program. There's not going to be much tolerance for lack of participation or lack of not reading or understanding what's going on. Now, obviously, I know that some people don't want to type as much. They prefer to read, and we'll get into that in a second. But specifically for the Titan program is really about enhancing our abilities, consciousness abilities, of all sorts. You name it, go down the list. There's all sorts of abilities and consciousness powers and so on and so forth. This is for the discussion and the enhancement of them. This is also for the discussion and the enhancement of the mission of the Titan program. And the Titan program is no joke. PSI itself, which this needs to be distinguished as well. PSI itself has different categories. You have your core members, you have members that are more passive, right? They prefer to read, and That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I often see a lot of members that don't really type much, but I do see them online and I do see them reading. So we're going to be having more distinctions on that, more distinctions on core members, core creators versus people that just want to read, just want to, look at stuff. And then we're going to also have inactive tags for people that are not doing anything at all. And this is important because there was some ideas about, well, what do we do with inactive people? Guys and gals, I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to grow. That means we're going to get more people. It's going to get to the point where we're going to have hundreds and thousands of people, and that number is going to keep growing. So distinction will be made between the people that are the core, that are actually doing things, and people that are, well, more like fans, I guess, and more just readers in general. And that's fine. Those people, that's okay. It must have a spot for them. So there will be a distinction made for that. And coming back to the Titan program, that goes double as hard because the Titan program is a very serious program. The Titan program is for people that really want to take things to the next level, to really become a Titan in their own right, to really be the best that they can be, and to really take their evolution to a whole other level. I mean, PSI in general is about that, but the Titan program is double for that. So if you do have interest in joining, understand what you're getting into ahead of time. Now, as talked about with the participation with the members and the initiative and stuff like that, having initiative is very important. People go out and create. Don't wait for people to respond. Okay, if I was to wait for people to respond in creation of PSI, there would not be any PSI. Okay, so I would like to suggest this to people that may have some fear or reservations, whatever. You need to just go. And the other thing is that you need to be persistent, you need to be consistent, and you need to persevere. Where PSI is now compared to where it was last year is a night and day difference. And where it will be next year compared to where it is now will be a night and day difference. But this comes through consistency. This comes through farming. All right. So it's about being patient, but being patient, knowing and consciously growing in that direction. Just why it's really important for people to have self-initiative in some form. You need to come up with ideas, with channels, with music, with art, with whatever the heck you can do. It's not just limited to artistry. If there are some things that we need, some upgrades that we need, I mean, heck, even the Discord came from Austin. Now, the Discord is a great success. It works for what it is. So be inspired in your own right. And another thing, too, that I want to add to that is that, the world out there, it's a really good thing that PSI exists because the world out there is mediocre. And it's constantly trying to keep you down. And there needs to be a place where you can go and you can be inspired, you can be uplifted. And we need every single person here to be doing that in their own way. And there is nobody that can't do that. Every single person has their piece to fill in the puzzle. So, that being said, the last thing I want to talk about is the growth and the continuance of PSI itself. This year is going to be the 9th year of PSI. In 2020, it'll be a decade that this thing has existed. This thing has been around for a long time. And, it's like a snowball, right? When the snowball first goes down the hill, it's small. It's not really making much of a difference. But then it starts snowballing. I'm sure you've heard that term in MOBAs. It starts snowballing to the point that it turns into an avalanche, and you can't stop it. That's what's happening with this whole thing right now. So, congrats to all that are here, all the people that are here right now. Congrats to the people that will come. There will be more people to come. Hopefully we get more creators, but let's continue doing what we're doing. So cheers to 2019, people, and hope to see you guys at more of these meetings, those of you who couldn't make it. And that will be all. We will now proceed to rock. So, peace.